Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world. Coming up, the politics of anger. American women activists march on the streets as Donald Trump prepares to enter the White House. Also, the cost of being a feminist living in Saudi Arabia, and how a new app in Australia is being used to make urban areas safer for women. But we begin in the States, where Donald Trump's election as president has been met with loud protests across the country. While some, however, have welcomed his daughter's proposal of paid parental leave, a first for America, there's also overwhelming concern over the president-elect's promise to restrict abortion rights.
Immigrants are welcome here! In the wake of Donald Trump's election, men and women across the country marched together to protest the president-elect's offensive comments and disregard towards various groups, including the LGBT community, blacks, Latinos, and women. Women in particular have spoken out against Trump, amidst a wave of fear that many of their reproductive and social rights could be taken away during his presidency.
He's threatening our rights. Women should not feel afraid. Women should be embraced in America for their power. And women should have a voice, and it should not be taken away.
Though Trump's path to the White House may be guaranteed, it is unclear how he will address issues affecting American women. The main issue at stake is health, particularly abortion rights and access to birth control. Trump has vowed to overturn the landmark Supreme Court case Roe v. Wade, giving the power back to states to decide whether or not to ban abortion.
What this win has done is embolden state legislatures to start making incursions into women's access to reproductive health care in terms of abortion and termination right away. So I can guarantee you that there will be hundreds of bills in the state house of all of the states in the United States trying to restrict access that will then be litigated up. And if they're litigated up to the Supreme Court after the president-elect has had a chance to confirm 2 or 3 nominees, we could see Roe v. Wade fall.
Preventive care could also be at risk if Trump repeals the Affordable Care Act, which expanded access to women's health care, including birth control, but also mammograms, postpartum depression counseling, and even regular checkups. While his daughter Ivanka has urged throughout her father's campaign that he will stand up for women, establishing 6 weeks paid maternity leave and working to bridge the pay gap, Trump himself has made no commitments.
We have a president-elect who is not committed to equal pay for equal work, who is not committed to ending harassment in the workplace. Those kinds of things require leadership, and I'm hopeful that women in the United States begin to generate those leaders.
Thousands of women will continue the fight in a march on Washington, the day after Trump is inaugurated.
Now she champions the right for individual women to decide whether or not they want to wear the hijab. She was arrested in 2014 for insulting Islam after posting comments on Twitter about Muslim religious leaders. A mother of 6, Suad al-Shamari, continues to push for interpretations of Sharia law that allow women more freedom. But what makes her story even more amazing, as Sanam Shantier reports, is that she's doing it in Saudi Arabia.
This is the face of a prominent human rights defender in Saudi Arabia. On her book cover, in line with her country's laws, nothing but her eyes are peeking out from a veil. But this is a more realistic picture, a sure sign of defiance. Here, Suad al-Shamari's hair's flowing freely. Now she's had to pay a price for her liberal views.
I was always told that if I managed to exercise patience, I would go to heaven. Okay, fine. In front of people, I'm strong, I'm a hero, but I wake up with my pillow wet from my tears. There can't be a God that accepts this pain and injustice, a God that says I'll be rewarded for this pain. So this is how my rebellious thinking started.
At home, the twice-divorced mother of 6 lets her hair down.
This is freedom. If you want to wear a tent, do the hijab like this or that. Or if you want to remove it completely and let your hair out, you should be free to do so.
But this hasn't always been the case. Suad was jailed for 3 months in 2014 for insulting Islam. This after she co-founded an online group with Saudi blogger Raif Badawi, who's now serving a 10-year prison sentence.
I didn't go through Raif's Badawi case until she was arrested. And it was so scary. I was like, really? 10 years? And Mom set up the network with them. So it was numbing.
While she's no longer behind bars, Suad's wings are still clipped. The 42-year-old is disowned by her own relatives and barred from travelling abroad. But she's used to taking on Saudi Arabia's legal system. Her travail started the day her daughter was taken from her, in a country where the father is automatically granted a child's custody. Today she says it was worth the pain, as her movement has started to gain momentum.
Society's now saying that liberals aren't disbelievers. They don't sow strife and don't cause rebellion. But whether you like it or not, you're fighting your own fight.
Since her release, Suad's had to sign a pledge to reduce her activism. But today, from a small corner, she continues to fight for women, one tweet at a time.
And the Australian national capital, Canberra, has come up with a new way to become a safer place, especially for women. A new app has been launched that allows women to report areas where they feel unsafe and why. Local authorities will then use the information to make the necessary changes.
The anxiety of walking alone down a dark city street, a feeling shared by many, including Francis.
There are so many places in Canberra where the lighting is just so insufficient. It's so dark and you just don't feel comfortable.
There's something she can do about it now. The city's Women's Centre for Health Matters has launched an app that allows her to pinpoint the areas where she feels unsafe and say why.
So you've got 3 selections. You can either choose the rectangle, circle, or just the drop pin.
And how do you feel?
I'm going to say unsafe. And why do I feel this way? There's a lack of lighting on the bike paths.
Local government is funding the project and will use this crowdsourced data to improve urban planning. They'll have direct feedback telling them what works and what doesn't. And as safety is the prime concern, the app has safeguards to protect the privacy of users.
We've deliberately designed the system so that the information that people put into it actually isn't available to everyone, and we'll be able to sort through that data.
Local authorities are now hoping that enough people will use the app to see if this will improve women's safety. Last year, Canberra police reported 438 instances of sexual assault in the Australian capital.
And finally, Cameroon is playing host to the African Women's Cup of Nations, and much hope has been pinned on their star player and team captain, Christine Mani. Our team on the ground sent us this report.
A festive atmosphere in front of the hotel of the Indomitable Lionesses, the name given to the Cameroonian female national football team. The team's pillar is Christine Mani, 32 years old, captain and veteran of this selection. She has been a footballer for more than 15 years.
I started playing while still very young. I would play as a hobby, I guess you could say. I spent time after school playing, but after a while I began really enjoying it.
Today, Mani is an example for her 21 teammates, nearly all professionals who are inspired by the evolution of their captain.
She's very intelligent on the field of play. Tactically, technically, she's also good, and she usually acts like a catalyzer in the team.
Like many in Cameroon, Mani grew up in a poor neighborhood of Yaoundé, where her mother still lives. Pictures of her first games hang on the walls in her mother's home, a source of pride.
I feel joy deep inside me. This is why I'm always in church. I thank God for having given me such a good child.
At their last test match a few days ago, Mani took the field as a captain looking for her first continental title. In a country where women's football has become a passion for men and an inspiration for many women who came to the stadium.
I'm absolutely certain that the Indomitable Lionesses will go far in this competition.
For Mani, who abandoned her studies, her mantra remains rigor and hard work.
You have to be disciplined, and you must believe in everything you do, even when it's difficult. You must believe.
On the eve of her last international competition, the leader of the Lionesses hopes for sweet victory in just 3 weeks, bringing joy to her entire nation.
And that's it for now. And if you'd like to comment on what you've just seen, you can head to our Facebook page. That's France24 51%, or do send us a tweet at _51%. Thanks for your feedback so far, and please do keep those comments coming in. So until our next show, bye for now.